Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Bithoulkas, and it's time for Ahsoka Season 1, Episode 3, Part 3, Time to Fly. Welcome, everybody. Let me take care of some business first. I want to get down to it. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, you know who you are out there. Take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible to one of the videos my vast video library and pops it up here just for you. And if you like what you see there, please hit that subscribe button. And if you can, hit that like button, the share button as well. And if you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, go over to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule I have up there. I change it every week. Also, I have all the links to my social media there and all the links to my pages as well. And also, if you take a look underneath the schedule, there is a list of stuff that's coming up for the rest of the year here. Hey, Cheryl, how's it going? So let's get started, shall we? Let's just dive into this. If I can reach back there. Spoiler alert, I am going to spoil the episode. If you have not seen the episode, go and watch it. Come on back. This will be a video. You can comment down below in the comment section. Give you enough time to pause, do whatever you need to do to go away and whatever when you can come back when you watch the episode. There we go. Much better. So, a couple of things to unpack on this. So this was the shortest episode out of the series here, out of this season. And I liked it a lot, actually. This was fun. Again, if you have not watched Rebels, you're probably going to be lost. There's a lot of stuff that is referencing Rebels in this as well. So yeah, it's funny that Filoni just kind of dove straight into it, but also I'm I'm not going to be sliding him for that one. We're still doing some character exposition, if you will, on some of this. I mean, we introduced a couple of new characters, well, actually one new character, really. And well, yeah, one new character and one new creature, if you will. New if you haven't seen Rebels, by the way. So that, of course, is Jason, which is Hera's son, who happens to be her son with Kanan. So Kanan was a Jedi that was in Rebels, also known as Caleb Doom, is what his real name was. Yeah, so Jason is his son as well. And of course, Jason was being watched over by the war criminal, our all favorite war criminal, Chopper. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself here. So we have Ahsoka and Sabine, along with Hu Yang. They are looking. They're going to the Denab system to see what this ring is, what the hell this structure is, where these hyperdrives are going to, and in the meantime, as they're getting there, Hera is trying to make a plea with the New Republic to send out ships, of course, to take a look at this as well. And we have this guy, Zeon, is his name. And Senator Ziono, who is fucking working with the Empire. He's part of the old Empire regime. He, of course, is voting against it. He is poisoning the rest of the Senate there that are making this decision. And yeah, it's just he's kind of undermining Chancellor Mon Mothma, who wants to actually send ships with Hera to go and take a look at this, but is kind of being outvoted on this. Yeah, we and I love the whole thing about what Hera says. She goes, "Did you fight in the war?" Is what she says to Xiono, and Xiono's like, "No," and she goes, "Oh, so you basically sat off on the side and waited to see who came out on top." And that is pretty telling right there that this dude really was, yeah, he was really just kind of waiting to see who was going to win so he could, side with whoever was strongest on all of this. Anyway, getting ahead of myself on this again. While they were on board the ship, we have Ahsoka and Sabine. Sabine is going through her training. She's, trying to break, get some of the rust off of her. And so she's going through training. Hu Yang is saying that, she's horrible. She's basically horrible still at her training. And Ahsoka suggests maybe doing the Zatoichi technique. Now, for those of you who don't know who Zatoichi is, Zatoichi, the name is actually derived from, not derived, it's from a Japanese cereal that has been around, oh, I don't know, 60, 70 years now, something like that. And Zatoichi is the blind swordsman. If you go and take a look at film, TV series, there's a whole bunch of Zatoichi in Japanese cinema and TV going back to, I believe, the 1940s, either 1940s or 1950s, somewhere around there. And it's actually, he's a blind swordsman. This is a great series, by the way. If you've never seen it before, go and take a look at it. But this is where Filoni uses that's where he took this from. And the Zatoichi technique, of course, is blinding the person who is learning this to reach out and use their other senses in order to find out where things are. And Raymond says here, is it me or is the New Republic kind of lax in their background? Yeah, the New Republic is way too trusting in any of this, Raymond. And I'm fairly sure the New Republic, the people that were within it, and that's the whole thing. That's the whole point of this, is that Filoni's trying to show how, the First Order could come about so quickly in all of this, is because the New Republic kind of allowed it, just the way they were doing this. They were kind of way too trusting of people. Well, they took an oath of loyalty. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. Anyway, going back to the Zatoichi thing, um, Sabine has the visor down, kind of like Luke, and she is, having to listen, having to sense where the attack is going to come from. And um, this also goes back to George Lucas, actually, what George Lucas said. Sorry, I'm getting a phone call, but I'm not answering. Um, it goes back to what George Lucas says about the Force. The Force, he said, is all around us. It goes, it penetrates every living object. But he also said in an interview that anyone could actually learn to use the Force if they were trained. This is in an interview that he said a long time ago, by the way. And so this is where it comes about Sabine not having Force abilities, but that she could learn to use the Force. And it has to start off small, is what Ahsoka is telling her. And moving a cup, for example. Um, and that's exactly what George Lucas said. He said, if I was trained to move a cup with my mind, with the Force, I could do it. That's exactly what he says, actually, in his quote. And it's kind of funny that Filoni actually puts that in there to have Sabine trying to move the cup. But anyway, they get to the Denab system. They pull out of hyperspace because they are sensing something big that's floating around the planet there. And per Jedi protocols, they're supposed to, of course, as Hu Yang keeps reminding them, Jedi protocols, Jedi protocols. They pull out of hyperspace there, and they get attacked by 6 ships led by Shin Hati and Marok. Marok. Uh, and I'm going to get into Marok too in a little bit here. I know there's some stuff that I missed last 2 episodes, but I'll get into that too. And we get some really interesting visuals in all of this. We have, the ship gets hit, of course. We have Ahsoka at one point out on the wing of the dead ship while Sabine is trying to, start it back up again. And she is using lightsabers and fighting off these ships outside on the wing, which it's fun. It's Star Wars. That is what we want to see in all of this. Does it forward the story? No, it really doesn't, but it was actually kind of cool to see at the same time. They end up going down to the planet, diving into the atmosphere because they are still, the ship is still, you know, got some damage to it. They're not going to be able to fight back against Shin and Marok at the same time. And they come upon some Purgle. Now, Purgle are space whales. These are in Rebels. I think I talked about this last time. Purgle are pretty much where people in the Republic, people in this galaxy found out how hyperspace existed, is because the Purgle actually can jump into hyperspace. And they can also migrate to other galaxies as well. So this star map that we got in the first 2 episodes there are actually the Purgle migratory patterns from one galaxy to another. They can actually traverse through galaxies. And it's interesting actually seeing the Purgle in live action too. So we got to see that, which was really kind of cool. Um, so of course they end up landing on the planet so they can actually make some repairs. And in the meantime, Hera has told them as they were, coming out of warp there, or where they were in hyperspace, that the New Republic is not going to help them. That they're shit out of luck. They're on their own, and that's where they're at. So as they're down on the planet there, we also get, and I'm blanking on his name now all of a sudden. I don't know why I just blanked on his name. I really did. Ray Stevens, Balin. There we go. Balin's skull. Balin's skull is down there on the planet, and he says, "Go and hunt them down. They're on the planet here, someplace hiding in the forest. You get an entire planet to look for. Go for it." And that's where we leave off on the episode. Yes, they do look kind of Lovecraftian in a bit, Raymond. So what they did was they did the head of a whale, and then the tails are kind of squid-like, if you will. So it's really kind of cool. I dug this episode. I liked it, even though it was short. We get a little bit more of Force lore, I guess you could say, even Jedi lore of what it takes to go through Jedi training, and that you don't need to be Force adept in order to go through the Jedi training. Even Hu Yang says, to Ahsoka that she comes from a long line of unconventional Jedi. Which, if you think about it, yeah, she does. She does come from a long line of unconventional Jedi and all her influences as well. So yes, this was a good episode. And I was going to talk about Marok there. There is a theory out there right now that Marok is actually Ezra, and Ezra has been brainwashed into becoming an Inquisitor. And I'm like, well, if that's the case, that means Thrawn's already back. Then why are we getting this? Why is Morgan building this hyperspace lane? Unless she's building the hyperspace drive in order to go back to that galaxy in order to bring whatever forces that Thrawn has, put into place there, which I don't think they're going to go with that, but who knows? We could. And there are other theories out there too, that go into video game lore, the extended universe lore, all that kind of stuff, that bring in these other races that are also from other galaxies. We might be introduced to these as well, and they might end up becoming canon in the new in this Star Wars universe now, the Disneyverse. Raymond says no, Marok is either a new character or Barrett. Yeah, that was the other. That's the other theory, is that Marok is Barriss or Oif, who was a Jedi, who actually framed Ahsoka at one point, and was found out, and was barred from the Jedi Order. She framed Ahsoka for murder. Again, this is in the Clone Wars. If you take a look in the Clone Wars, the animated series, that's where that comes from. I don't think it's Barriss. I mean, even with the voice modulation, I think it's a dude. I think it's a guy. I don't think it's a woman, which Barriss was. Yeah, I don't know. What would be kind of cool is if it was Asajj Ventress, who at one point was a Sith Lord or a Sith apprentice, dropped out of that, became a bounty hunter, and then disappeared. We don't know really what happened to Asajj Ventress. And she's also a Night Sister as well. But I don't think that's going to happen. That's actually, Asajj Ventress is a really great character too. Once you go past the movies, and you go into the Clone Wars series, she's a really good character, and I'm kind of surprised that she has been brought back somewhat. kind of like Darth Maul was brought back and in the animated series as well. So looking forward to next week's episode. Of course, we have 6 more episodes to go here, so there's a lot of room to play with. We still haven't gotten Thrawn in as of yet. Most likely we're gonna get Thrawn in episode, we're on 3, probably episode 5 is where I'm guessing, or the end of episode 4. We're probably going to introduce the episode, the end of next episode, and then we go full on to him in episode 5. And we'll see where that's at. So, oh, and by the way, Balin and Shin, their names are actually derived from like Viking lore, as Guardian lore, that kind of stuff, and it's wolf based and all of this. So the other theories out there right now that are talking about there's an episode in Rebels where they kind of go through and find also in the Clone Wars, where there is a temple where you see the father, the daughter, and the son, and it's supposed to represent the neutral, who is the father, the daughter, who is the light side of the force, and the son, who is the dark side of the force. And this is Mortis, is what it's called. The Mortis is kind of this where the force comes from. There's a force street. I'm not going to go into it because it gets really confusing and it's really not fleshed out too much. There's only like 2 or 3 episodes on it, but people are seeing that in all of this as well, which I'm saying just let it play out. Honestly, there's lots of speculation out there. I'm not speculating. I'm just kind of letting it go at this point because I know when I've speculated on this stuff, I'm totally way off on things, and there's no clear trail of breadcrumbs and all of this. There's no foreshadowing, at least not that I'm seeing so far, on who Mark is. We keep saying, Balin keeps saying that what he's expecting from Thrawn and all of this is to get power like you've never seen before, which is what you would get from the Force stream that they've been talking about, that other people are talking about. So that's what people are trying to read into all of this. Anyway, don't, just kind of let it go at this point. I'm looking forward to this, but I did love the Zatoichi aside, and that was kind of an interesting thing. Hu Yang, talking about Jedi protocol all the time, even though the Jedi don't exist anymore. Yeah, the Jedi protocol is pretty funny. Also, with this big threat going on, where the fuck is Luke? I mean, I know Luke is setting up the Jedi Academy and everything, but where is he at this point? If Thrawn is such a big threat to the Republic, the new Republic, if you will, you would think that he would actually help out a little bit, that he would be there to help Ahsoka out. And yeah, I don't know. But I know you can't bring Luke in because then, yeah, you can't have Luke solve everything. And honestly, do we really want the Skywalkers in this as well? No, because then it just becomes another Skywalker saga, and we really don't want that. And I'm thinking that's what they're trying to avoid with all of this as well. Raymond says Ahsoka was a Force ghost in Rise of Skywalker. Not necessarily, Raymond. So they have said that it's not necessarily that she was a Force ghost. It's just all these voices of former, and past Jedi. That's all it was. So she was not dead per se. Yeah. And she's been dead before, by the way. So Mortis, when I talked about Mortis there, Ahsoka had been poisoned. She was brought into that temple of the neutral, the light and the dark, and the daughter, the light side daughter, actually brought Ahsoka back to life, and that is where she gets her owl from as well. Yeah. Again, if you go back, and I believe I did a whole "Is it worth my time?" Not I did a yeah, I did actually stream on Who in the Hell is what it's called. That's the name of the bit, and I did one on Ahsoka Tano, and I think I added that part in there. I pretty much went through all of her timeline up until this point. So yeah, there you go. Do I like Dawson's portrayal of Ahsoka? She seems very different, but she is middle. Um, I would have liked to have seen Ashley Eckstein in this role instead. Because Ashley is actually the age Ahsoka should be. Yeah, at this point, and she would be able to play it as well. She looks the part. And I think she would play with a little more whimsy. What I don't like about Rosario Dawson's portrayal of Ahsoka right now is she seems very adversarial, if you will. Kind of standoffish, very stubborn in her ways. And that's not the Ahsoka that we know. So that's why it kind of bothers me the way she's been being played. And I know it's the way she's being written as well. Um, Filoni was the one that wrote all of these episodes, so yeah, I'm don't know if that was intentional that he wanted to do it this way, if there's something that they're going to explain later on about what happened to her, why she's become this way. I mean, it happens to people in life. You can have someone who is happy-go-lucky, who who trusted people, all that kind of stuff, and shit happens to them. And it did happen to Ahsoka, where a lot of shit happened to her, where a lot of people betrayed her. Um, I mean, especially the Jedi Order. Come on, the Jedi Order basically put her on trial, and they were going to fucking arrest or throw her in jail for a crime that she didn't commit. And then after she was absolved of it, they're like, okay, you can come on back. And she was like, yeah, I don't think so. Maybe fighting Vader really messed her up. Possibly. But I mean, we know from that, I mean, Ezra was the one that saved her from Vader, quite honestly. If he hadn't pulled her out in the world between worlds, um, she was dead. She would have been dead a second time, but this time it would have stuck. So if Ezra hadn't pulled her out, then yeah, that I don't know. Maybe if because of what Vader became, but she seemed to. I don't know. Maybe it was all her time on the run. I think is what it was. Maybe it was all her time on the run before Episode 4, before A New Hope, when she becomes Fulcrum and is having to essentially put together the Rebel Order there. Yeah, because there's some time frame within there that we don't have. We don't know what she did between the end of Rebels, which is right before, well, it's actually about 2 years before A New Hope. So we don't know what happens after Rebels and where we are now, which is 5 years after Return of the Jedi, 6 years after Return of the Jedi. So that's a lot of wiggle room there. That's about what, 10 years, somewhere around there, give or take. So yeah, a lot of shit could have gone down at that point. And plus, of course, she was fighting, the Empire the entire time. So yeah. So with that said, what else do I have going on for the rest of this week? Wait, hang on a sec. Raymond says, was Mando the first time we've seen her after that? Yes. Mando was the first time we saw her after that. Because I mean, you do have an epilogue at the end of Rebels where they kind of flash past the movies to the end of Return of the Jedi, but there is no dialogue. It's just we see her going to Sabine. So yeah, this is Mandalorian was the first time that we saw her and what had become of her in this time point. So yes, you are correct, sir. So as I was saying, what else do I have going on for the rest of this week? Well, tomorrow I'm going to be off. Friday, I'm going to do episode 1 of The Wheel of Time, season 2. Season 2 of The Wheel of Time is dropping on Amazon on Friday. So I'm going to do episode 1. And then on Saturday, I'm going to do episodes 2 and 3. I'm going to be ambitious here, and I know I missed it last week. Sunday, I'm going to try and shoot for another spoiler alert, basically where we can talk about anything spoilerific that you guys want to talk about. I'll probably throw in some news of the week and all that kind of stuff as well. But pretty much as long as it's out in theaters or out and about to the public, no sneak previews or anything like that, we can talk about it. Movies, TV shows, video games, whatever you want to talk about, we do that on Sunday. Monday, of course, I'll be off. Tuesday, I'm most likely going to be off as well. And then, of course, we roll back around to Wednesday to Ahsoka, episode 4. So that's what's going on right now. So with that said, if you like what you see here, or if you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible to one of the videos of my vast video library and pops that up here just for you. And if you like what you see there, please hit that subscribe button down below there. And if you can, hit that like button, the share button as well. And if you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, go over to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule I have up there. I change it every week. Also, I have all the links to my social media, all links to my pages there as well. Why am I talking so fast? Well, YouTube instated this thing now where, ads, you actually have to put in ads to this thing. And I tried to pad it out as much as possible so that there are ads every 30 minutes, which is the minimum that's the maximum I can do. I can't go out any further than that. So I'm looking at my time clock, which is up here, and I'm trying to make it so you don't have to go through any more ads than you already have in order to get here. So thank you to everyone who joined me tonight in the chat. And thank you if you made it this far in the video. I will see you again on Friday. So until then, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may end up having to stand outside on the wing of a spacecraft and fight off, some invaders with lightsabers and doing flips and whatnot in space. And anyway, and hoping that Sabine actually gets that ship up and operational again. Thanks, everybody. I will see you again on Friday. Have a good rest of your night. Stay safe, be well, take care, and have a good rest of your night, everyone. Thank you. I will see you again on Friday. Good night.